Philip is from Tucker, Georgia, and Philip asked what my thoughts are on Kirby Smart's statement about the expanded playoff benefiting teams who don't make the SEC championship game compared to the two who play in it. And if you're unfamiliar, they're having the SEC spring meetings down in Destin, and all the coaches have press conferences, and there's otherwise a lot of backroom dealings. So Kirby Smart was talking about how he thinks it's really overrated, the whole 8-game versus 9-game conference schedule debate. He thinks that's overrated. He said what people should be talking about more is we're going to an expanded playoff. Is someone going to actually benefit by not playing in the SEC championship game? He's got a good point here, and I don't think some folks took the time to properly digest what he's suggesting, because you immediately saw people when that quote went out saying, well, that's solved because there's incentive to win the conference title because you can get a first-round bye if you're a conference champion. That's true. What about the team that loses the SEC championship? There are two teams in that game, not just one team. So, yeah, the winner, that's great. If Georgia goes to the SEC championship game and they win it, that's wonderful. But let me ask you this. Let's just go back to last year. But let's pretend there was a 12-team playoff. Alabama didn't win the West. Alabama did not even go and play for the SEC championship. LSU did, and they lost. Who would have benefited more in that scenario? Alabama sitting at home, or LSU having beaten Bama and earning the opportunity to go to Atlanta and playing in the SEC title game and losing? Who's in the better position? The answer is Alabama. Kirby Smart's exactly right. There are going to be scenarios, much more plentiful in supply, by the way, where you're going to benefit from not playing in the conference title game. I know it's happened before. I know there's been a year with Bama, actually. There was a year where they did not make the SEC title game, and they still made the playoff, and they won the whole thing. Yes, that has happened before. I ask you this. How fine was the needle that had to be threaded for that to happen versus how frequently it could happen in the future? So he's right about that. And then the follow-up, I think, is also misguided. The follow-up is, okay, well, that means we got to rework some things. How do we further incentivize going to the conference title game? Not just winning it, but going to the conference title game. Is that the question, though? I don't know that that's the question, as much as maybe the real question being, what is the value in conference championship games in the expanded playoff era? Now, you know how I feel about this. I hate the expanded playoff. So I don't like the question. But I'm telling you, since you're dragging me into this new era, I'm going to ask if everything's on the table and we're not going to value the things we used to value. Well, why in the world are you even playing a conference title game? Money is the obvious answer, but people can't say that to your face. So they have to make up a reason. But I'm asking you, you're gonna go play a conference title game. Then in many cases, both teams are going to make the playoff anyway. And yeah, 4 of them are going to have byes. But outside of that, like really, even some conference champs aren't going to have first-round byes. So you win it, you lose it, you're playing for seeding. In a lot of cases, that's the way it's going to be. And I know that the retort should be, well, Josh, you should play for pride. No. We should play for it. Yeah. But that went out the door when some of you started referring to bowl games as meaningless because they didn't have playoff ramifications on the line. Remember that? Yeah, it's like 5 minutes old. That went out the door when some of you started calling late season games meaningless because teams were out of the playoff hunt. No, that ship sailed, and you cut the rope at the dock. Not all of you, but some of you that would then come at me and say, shame on you for suggesting there's less value in a conference title game. No, pride is on the line. Okay. Well, could you tell me that later tonight so I don't have to take a sleeping pill?